shortly get out of the way. But I want to try to sell you on something that you'll hear a lot more from Bill Proudfit later. So if you want to know more about OpenData, which I'll shortly be talking about, then please stay around in this room. First, what is OpenData? Well, my background is that for many years I worked for a really, really big IT vendor that was selling big data solutions. I quit that job back in March, and now I am unemployed and working entirely as a volunteer with OpenData Hong Kong. But my background with big data was that I kind of became fascinated with this idea that we could collate data from a wide variety of sources, run analytics against it, and discover something, right? Unearth a gem in data that's interesting, that's fun to talk about, that maybe can make money, maybe can be funded for research. So I did all this work in the big data space, and early this year I met a group called OpenData Hong Kong. Now, OpenData Hong Kong is a group of technologists and activists that want to get more open data out of the Hong Kong government and find more interesting ways to use it. So open data is interesting from my background as a big data practitioner because it's real live data that we have right here in Hong Kong that we can do something with. And it's interesting for people that live in Hong Kong and that care about society and care about government because it's a way to get the government to be more transparent. And we generally believe that transparent governments are better governments. So I started working with OpenData Hong Kong, and through that group ran into, quite coincidentally, Cyrus, who is also presenting later today on some fantastic work he did researching jobs in Hong Kong. If any of you are in the job market in IT, you have to go to his presentation. He's got some phenomenal analytics. He did that work. I went and talked to him about OpenData Hong Kong and presented the open data sets that exist. Again, more you'll hear about this from Bill later. But after talking to Cyrus, I met this group that you'll see today. This group is pulling some of the real live open data we have from Data One and turning it into something that I think is interesting and is useful. And I think you'll also find that some of their initial observations about restaurants in Hong Kong will surprise you. So on that, I will, invite Alfred. We'll start. Please take the floor. Thank you, everyone.
As everybody knows, Hong Kong is a food paradise. And there are plenty restaurants in Hong Kong. And to ensure that they are all hygienic, the food and environmental hygiene department requires all restaurants to be legally licensed. And the department will verify the cleanliness and the hygiene of the restaurant. But no matter how excellent the work is, there's still a lot of unlicensed restaurants out there. And what is the problem what is the risk when you go to the unlicensed restaurant? When something happens, your insurance may not cover it. And also, the hygiene, health, and safety equipment may not be certified. So, for this purpose, we developed a system called LicenCheck. It is a free data platform that mines data from data.one and provides a map that shows all licensed restaurants in Hong Kong. For this system, we have applied several Amazon Web Service in it, including EC2 instance and RDS database. And here is a simple illustration of our system. And we have used the data and applied on Google API to translate it to map information. And here we are going to introduce my other workers to demonstrate the system for you.
Hello everybody. This is the index page of the LicenCheck. You can see many cluster and the map. Now I will try content will show in it. And the original cluster will separated as some small cluster and some markers. Let's click the marker. The message box will show the license number and the restaurant name. Another function is the search. Now I will search partly. It will show the related record with your input. Also, it provides two versions. One is Chinese and another one is English. You can see the words sent with your input will turn to red. There are two buttons. We try to click search and open rights. You can know about more about information about the place with the restaurant. Okay, go back to license check. Click the right corner to show another panel. This panel shows more about information about us and license check. If you have any problem or suggestion, you can click contact us with your valuable advice. Also, we provide another version for the mobile browser. The main function is similar to the web function. This is the only difference. It should click that button to show all the map. Lastly, if you like our license check or want us to improve it continuously, you can give us a like. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Deng. I'm Ronald. And let's talk about the problems and the solution we have met at. First, during the development, we faced several problems. And first, there are no standard format for those restaurant address. Google can't recognize the floor, shop number, or the length of estate in Hong Kong. And you can see the address like this. First, the shop number and the ground floor, it cannot recognize by the Google API. So it brings us a difficulty to translate those addresses to the geolocation which used to present on the maps. And second, there are some limitations with using Google Geocoding API service. For standard user, only 2,500 requests is allowed per day. And also, there is not allowed to do more than 5 requests per second. So, our automation program mines the data from the data one, and we translate the address to a geolocation that we used to present on the map. But Google slowed down our process. So, for our case, if 20,000 restaurant license, we need 8 days. We need 16 days to run all 20,000 restaurant address to translate to a format that we can use. And actually, we are not only doing 20,000 requests for the translate. So I will talk it later. And to solve these problems, we developed something called best geocoding algorithm. So you can see, as the address given by the government, we are trying to separate expose the address to a smaller parts, and we request the address by matching with different matchings, and also we do it with both Chinese and English version of the address. And finally, we cache the most accurate geofixing location. So you can see the B matching is the most accurate. So we choose B for our geolocation that we use to present on the map. By using this way, about 14 requests are needed for each restaurant. So that means we need 112 days to run all our need data that translate by the Google. So these are main problems with us. So the first thing is Hong Kong. There are too many restaurants located within a small area. So if we just display our licensed restaurant on a map, it will like this. The pin is covered all the map. So I don't think the user will like find the environment friendly, and they would not use our application. If the map is like this, I don't think you will like to use it. So to solve it, we have found a solution. We find some effect called marker clusterer. So as you see, it's more attractive and more useful as you have seen before the demonstration. So fourth, from data source of government, the license validity period is not provided. So I think it is a very useful information that will improve our license check, that user can check whether the license is outdated or not. So we have surprising results. By our roughly calculation, you can see the result is like this. But actually, we have some reason to explain it. First, OpenRice maintains some restaurant information even after restaurant is closed, but the OpenRice have still keep this record. So the 21,000 includes some closed restaurants. And second, the department sometimes issue a single license for multiple restaurants. For example, we consider the Happy Valley race courses. For example, the Hong Kong Jockey Club would only need to apply for one license for multiple food stations on premises. So what we concerned before starting implementing the system, there were many concerns. Issues about accuracy of the markers and data errors due to the time delay, and even the legal issues. And there were lots of things we had to deal with, and it is beyond our field because we are the IT developer, and the logo issue we don't know about anything about no. And so focus on the ease of use and how it's useful of the license check. That's why we try to make the user interface of license checks is as attractive as we can. So I do think you will think the license checks is really attractive. So what's our further development? Of course, the license check, we can implement an Android mobile apps for easy for the user to use in the mobile apps. And also we can add the liquid license. And actually we can add more and more, but the license check is just a start. So what's next? Try to imagine that there is a platform that allows us to search any data related to Hong Kong, such as the weather, financial, traffic, or the government data. It is totally different to other data portal platforms. We are going to build a developer-friendly, analyst-friendly, researcher-friendly, and a user-friendly platform. So The information provided by government data one is very helpful for our analysis. However, there are some deficiencies in the platform. First, the data one not directly accessible programmatically and transactionally. They need to be downloaded in the end entirely in XML, CSV, or Excel format, then convert to something directly usable. That's what we are doing by implementing the LicenCheck. So, and second, data one maintains low archives. What does mean? For example, the traffic speed data at data one, for instance, is only provided the most recent snapshot. So that means the developer cannot find yesterday the data of the yesterday. So our system will focus by this providing this kind of features, such as automatically data capture, transform data into unified formats, data visualization. Visualization, just like our LicenCheck, we can provide a map that you can see the data easily. And actually, we can do some intelligent data analysis. What does it mean? We can firstly analyze the data for you, but actually we can provide some data exports, such as export to CSV or XML or Excel file. And actually, our main focus is provide a generic API with library support for common programming language, such as Python, Java, or JavaScript. So I think data is an undiscovered treasury. We shouldn't waste any data, so we need to have a bank to save it. So I think the Hong Kong data platform, the Hong Kong data platform will be our bank for Hong Kong in the coming future. So it is encouraged to help us by the forms of if you are willing to be our volunteers to fix the HKOSC problems, and or we need the graphical designer to design more attractive icon or user interface. And maybe you can help with the legal advices. Or we are welcome to receiving any suggestions or comments. And lastly, the following 10 minutes will be the question and answer session. Just feel free to ask any kind of questions. And finally, we special thanks to Amazon Web Service that he is given our Education Grant Award to our school IB. And Bastian at Hong Kong Data HK try to help us to set up a subdomain address. Thank you all of you. Hope you will enjoy today's conference.
So I have a question. Have you had any response from OpenRice for at some point you're linking into their data set? Have they responded to you?
And they are working there before.
Right.
And it is not a good idea for them to show someone don't have the license. They are doing their business. No license don't mean they don't do advertisement.
No, but my question is, has OpenRice responded to this group for using kind of in a way
Actually,
using their
we don't need to officially contact them, but they are my old boss, and I know they are thinking, and it's not their interest to have show something licensable or no license in Hong Kong.
No, Cyrus, that's not his question. Bill, I don't think that they actually are using any.
We are not using
OpenRice.
no using OpenRice.
But you're linking to their site.
It's a URL.
Just a URL.
Yeah, but the reason I ask is that from our other group, I've heard that OpenRice is extremely protective of, if anybody sort of even links into their site, they jump on them. This is what I've heard. So I'm just asking if you've gotten any response from them.
I think it's just linking.
LinkedIn
It's
is
just
fine.
bringing traffic to them.
LinkedIn is okay.
Which
You
is
can't
very
copy the data.
Right. Okay. I was just wondering. Yeah.
That's
But I understand what you're
the
saying.
openness. You get in, you have the reference to them is fine, but you can't copy their data for doing anything. That's their baseline. We don't copy any data from OpenWrite at this moment. Maybe we will discuss later, but I don't think it's not a good idea for them to check the license before posting the advertisement.
Any other questions?
I have a question. How you get the license, the information? Is it open from that?
It's from Data One. Their government website have the data.
I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this in the
The
next.
next talk will have more information.
I'll go in great detail about that.
大家可以用廣東話。
你可以講。
Bilingual.
Doesn't matter. And then how many people in your team? Is I see there's 4 people. How long you spend on this project right now?
Actually, just 4 students working. I didn't do anything. And
How long they
how
spend?
long?
About 2 weeks.
Not more than 2 weeks. Just about from the design and development. Development time is not very long. Actually, the program is. I can't say very complex. Actually, just you can see this something from OpenWrite is similar function. And the problem is that we need to have a lot of time to trial to decode the address. Is most of the problem. The address is just like something dummy. It's illogical address from government.
Can you elaborate a bit more about the software platform behind the...
Yes, we are using Amazon everything. Yes, actually this is the main point, but we are just skipped it before. Yeah. We are using AWS for the whole platform at this moment, and the service we are using some a server from AWS in EC2 is a Lampstead, but the database is not inside the Linux. We just use the Amazon service RDS A by Cisco, and it says that it will never die. It will always alive database with infinite size. And also for the service we are trying to, previously we want to use OpenData domain. But the problem is that we can't have to config the OpenData domain in the long run. And it is very good service. The Route 53 is a very good DNS service. We can very easy config and very quick respond. And also, in the long run, we want to put the data in SP. The price much cheaper and the speed is ultimately fast. This is the service we are using.
But I mean, is the software stack for your future data platform?
Actually, we are planning to use the CCAN platform maybe, and some new thing we will try to use Google service. The Google API is very good, and a lot of library already built in.
Is this solution integrated with open source and available on GitHub?
Sorry.
Is the solution right now open source? Is it open source?
Actually, we can share the name of library for every part of the program. And this web you can right-click build source. Just right-click build source, and Amazon is just we can't open source it, but we are using their service.
Yeah, I mean just your solution.
Yeah, our solution is it's fine. It's just a web page, and maybe give up the schema is very easy. Yeah, it's in the long term you can open source it. It's very simple, just a few library there.
I have a question about the address score, about the calculation. We have A, B, C, D, E, and then you calculate and find the best score of the address measurement. So, what's the general idea about how to get the highest score of the function?
Sorry, I can't understand the question.
Because when you do the search, you will have five search, and then you will have the score from the result.
Oh yeah.
So I'm interested in how you get the high score for with
Oh, actually, for the search result, we have provided if our assumption is if the browser can locate your current position, our result will sorting by your newest address. That means if you're standing at CTU, the restaurant around here will show first. So,
Will you please elaborate more about how auto program becomes possible and how to maintain the record if some new virtual is added?
oh, our program, our background automation program will send the data from government every day because the government will update the data at 9 a.m. and our program will run at 10 a.m. to make sure the data is synchronized.
We've also made a request for the government to update this database to include the license validity period. It may take them a year to do that, we don't know, but hopefully eventually that will happen.
Which website you search for Google? Is it normally searched by people? You just search by machine?
We are using the Google geolocation API service to translate the address to get the geolocation that can use add the marker on the map.
It's not a normal website for people to watch and.
Oh, it's open for any users.
The limit is free of charge. We have that is the number of limit of requests per day. And that's why we have some problem. Actually, the address is corrupt and we have to do the different combination, try and error. See something is more meaningful from the logic. It's not Hong Kong, it's something from other countries, it's not logical. And the number of requests is more than just the number of restaurants. And the limit every day will bound to the IP address. And if you try to train the IP address, it should be okay, you can have more requests. At the end, we use AWS to create a new instance and renew the IP address. And then we got the infinity number of Google geolocation API requests.
How big are the data size need to be stored in
It's about 10 megabytes.
So each day, each morning, your application will search the data from the government big data site and then store the MySQL and start to analyze.
Actually, it's a con job every day, every morning. Very simple explanation, con job. And this end up our this talk and next speaker is coming, and I will go to next room.
I'm sure there are. And I'm sure there are still many questions. Want to ask after the session.